Shanti. Are you all happy? Why doesn't God ever punish atheists? They seem to be doing well, even better than us. Many people are attracted to atheism because of this. Especially if someone achieving success in a certain field is an atheist. Many people in that field will be drawn to atheism. Their mind thinks they are atheists, yet they possess so much talent. It seems those who believe in God suffer, and God tests believers the most. We repeatedly hear and see these phrases, and we observe that those who preach atheism are doing very, very well. Naturally, the intellect leans towards that side. Another point is that due to faith in God and fear, we refrain from committing sins, at least reluctantly. But if there is no God, that fear is unnecessary. We can commit sins freely. Stories in the Bible and Quran suggest that God doesn't just poke out your eyes immediately. You don't believe in him. When the followers of Moses spoke against God, lightning struck from the sky, and those present were destroyed, or the earth opened up, and they fell dramatically inside. Does this mean that God exists? Would God do these things just to prove his existence? If he did, could we call him merciful? If God were to trouble those who don't believe in him, that would be a human trait. Normal human beings don't usually do that. Only those with vengeance or malice might. Would God possess such human qualities? Not only does God not punish you for not worshiping him or not believing in him, but even if you speak ill of God, break his idol, or demolish his place of worship, it is the laws of that particular country that might punish you, not God. God is definitely not going to punish you for such actions. Actually, God does not punish for anything because he is the embodiment of love. We say, love is Shiva. Truthfully, God never punishes you for any sin. When someone commits a mistake and something happens to them, people exclaim, "Oh, God exists. God has opened his eyes." This attitude itself is blasphemy towards God. Hinduism divides time into 4 yugas: Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. People in Satya Yuga are very good, while people in Kali Yuga are very bad. In Satya Yuga, their virtues gradually decrease. They fall slightly lower in Treta Yuga than in Satya Yuga. When they transition from Treta Yuga to Dwapara Yuga, they reach an even lower state. They descend further. By the end of Kali Yuga, everyone must reach a very degraded state. If God were to punish wrongdoers, he would have to punish everyone in Kali Yuga. Truly, the stories of Jesus, Rama, and the Pandavas all reflect the nature of God, which is forgiveness, including forgiving those who cause them suffering. When Jesus hung on the cross, he not only forgave the person who pierced his rib cage, but also prayed to God for him. This truly is the quality of God. Well, Jesus prays to God. But who does God pray to? We said the character shown in Jesus reflects the quality of God, didn't we? Do you know who God prays to? It is said that Jesus carried the cross for us to wash away our sins. Now, if we commit a sin against someone, we should receive punishment through that person, either in this life or subsequent lives. However, if the person affected by our actions, knowing this, chooses not to punish us, but instead wishes well for us, that is the story of Jesus. That is how sin is washed away, freeing them from the punishment for that sin. Jesus is referred to as a liberator, and God is also called a liberator. It is actually a name of God. What God does here is important to understand. God does not save anyone. Does he change the circumstances of your life suddenly, as depicted in devotional stories, the Bible, or the Quran? God does not suddenly turn the poor into the rich. This is because we must experience the fruits of our karma, the actions we have performed up until now. So you might wonder, what then is God's role? This role is beautifully explained in the Bible, Quran, Ramayana, and Mahabharata. Look, the Pandavas suffer. But does God prevent that difficult situation from arising? No, Rama suffers, but does God change the circumstances of his suffering? Similarly, in the story of Moses in the Bible or Quran, God instructs Moses to lead the slaves out of Egypt, promising them a land flowing with milk and honey. God did not change the situation of the slaves while they were in Egypt. Instead, he promised, "I will give you a good place. Come out from here." This is God's work. Although problems are depicted in Egypt, Ayodhya, or Hastinapura, where the Pandavas lived, the original truth is that Kali Yuga itself is full of problems. It is the world of the degraded, the era where unimaginable sins occur. What we see on the news now is very, very little compared to what is truly happening. So here, God says he only comes at the end of Kali Yuga, referred to as the second coming of Jesus, or Kalki Bhagavan. Why does he come at the end? He comes to speak about the cycle of time. This is a 5000-year cycle. The first half was heaven, golden and silver ages, where the land of Bharat itself was heaven. The second half becomes hell for the entire world. Satya Yuga, golden age, and Treta Yuga, silver age, are heaven, while Dwapara Yuga, copper age, and Kali Yuga, iron age, are hell. Each yuga lasts 1250 years. God comes 100 years before the destruction of Kali Yuga, because Satya Yuga is about to return after Kali Yuga ends. In Satya Yuga, everyone will be very elevated, whereas in Kali Yuga, they are very degraded. Will they suddenly jump into Satya Yuga? No. The same souls currently in Kali Yuga are the ones who will go to Satya Yuga, but not everyone, and that is the key point. The Bible and Quran mention that only a very few will go to heaven. This means very few will take birth in heaven, because the population in heaven is low. Subsequently, the population gradually increases until it reaches the current level at the end of Kali Yuga. So how does the population suddenly disappear? Since Satya Yuga is about to follow Kali Yuga, how does the population disappear? A great destruction occurs here. During this destruction, all souls leave their bodies and return to the home of souls, that copper-colored realm of light. We call this Paramdam, where the Supreme Father Shiva resides, referred to as Allah, or Parampita. God is one. Souls are subtle, invisible points of light. When embodied, the soul is situated at the center of the forehead, which is why we apply a mark there. Before going up, God gives knowledge to restore the elevated virtues they had in heaven. In heaven, people are unaware of lust, anger, attachment, greed, or ego. That is why the Bible and Quran mention that the lion and the cow drink water together. Imagine how loving human beings must be then. Look at how people are today. Right. How many sexual crimes occur in heaven? Husbands and wives do not look at each other with lust. They don't know what lust is. A wife becomes pregnant only when the husband and wife desire an heir. Every child born there is born in such purity. The story of Jesus being born that way in the Bible is a memorial of that time. These are actually the deities of heaven, whom Hindus worship by building temples. But where have those deities gone now? They haven't gone anywhere. They themselves have taken rebirth repeatedly, moving through Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. losing everything. This happens because they start committing sins, become ordinary humans, and lose everything. They do not even realize that they were the deities who were worshipped in temples for so long. The Supreme Father comes at the end to impart this knowledge. But who will listen to this knowledge? Only those who were deities in heaven will understand it, because deep down they know the truth. Upon hearing it, they will feel, yes, that is correct. Those who never came to heaven will not understand this. In the beginning of heaven, there are only 900,000 people. By the end of heaven, Treta Yuga, the population reaches 330 million. When the cycle begins, heaven is 100% perfect, and then happiness gradually decreases. But today the world population is 10 billion. Compare 10 billion with 900,000. Think about that. So only a very few will listen to this knowledge and return to heaven. What should we do? God says you lost everything because you yielded to lust, anger, attachment, greed, and ego. These 5 vices are sin. But the root cause of these 5 vices is identifying yourself as a perishable body. In heaven, you do not identify as the body. The awareness is naturally present in everyone in heaven that I am the soul residing in this body, a star shining at the center of the forehead, who sees through the eyes and speaks through the mouth, and the soul does all actions. Because of this awareness, souls see and speak to each other as souls, and their attention does not focus on the body. Consequently, they are not tempted by physical attraction, and therefore there is no lust in heaven. That is why heaven remains heaven for the first 2,500 years. Then gradually, they forget they are souls and become body conscious. As long as they remain soul conscious, there is bliss, because bliss is the true quality of the soul. When they forget they are the soul, bliss is cut off. They then try to seek bliss externally, experiencing it through sense pleasures. However, these are merely fleeting, sensual pleasures, providing momentary happiness. They pursue this happiness. But as soon as they achieve it, the joy disappears. Thus human beings wander and become addicted to this intoxication, losing the power to discern right from wrong. The result of committing sin after sin is that the beautiful bodies, good health, limitless wealth, and divine qualities enjoyed in heaven are gradually lost, leading to the degraded state humans are in today. Now, the Supreme Father gives this knowledge, telling us to completely abandon lust, anger, attachment, greed, and ego, and to give up the feeling of, I am the body, which is called body consciousness. Instead, stabilize yourself in the consciousness that I am the soul. The soul lacks the power to remain in soul consciousness. If you need that power, remember the Supreme Father, Shiva, who is always full of power and never takes a body. Remembering figures like Krishna or Jesus, who took bodies, might evoke feelings of lust upon seeing them for too long. Today, this is a major issue worldwide. People express lustful feelings towards God, Jesus, Krishna, or Rama. This happens because if actors portraying these figures have six-packs, the subsequent statues and photos reflect that. Seeing this evokes lustful feelings. That is why God says, remember the one who never takes a body, who is like a tiny star. We are like stars at the center of the forehead, and God is the same. The Shivling is a memorial of this concept, but unfortunately, it has been given an explanation that evokes lust. Therefore, these devotional stories and explanations are created by humans and have nothing to do with God. God comes to restore everything we have lost by refilling the soul with power. For that power to enter the soul, it must be pure. The intellect must be detached from lust, anger, attachment, greed, and ego. Since we lack the strength now, we must constantly remember the Almighty Father Shiva to restore that power. He is like a star in the copper-colored world of light. We are also like stars at the center of the forehead. Forget that you are in a body. Feel yourself as pure light, and with the thought, I am burning away all the sin accumulated in my soul. By remembering my pure Father Shiva, you practice what is called Raja Yoga. God Shiva himself comes and teaches this. To remember him, we must know what he is like. He says, like you, I am a star in the copper-colored world of light. The more you remember him, the purer the soul becomes. God says you must detach from lust, anger, attachment, greed, and ego, and also stop eating non-vegetarian food. Some people, especially those who were deities in heaven, will be attracted to this knowledge. Others will not come if they are told to give up lust and non-vegetarian food. Yet those who were deities in heaven will quickly embrace this knowledge. However, only a few in a billion accept this knowledge, and only a few in a billion go to heaven. So the task God performs is taking souls back to heaven. This is not a physical act, but a subtle one. As the soul becomes purer, think of it as moving in reverse. As the soul became dirtier, it descended to Kali Yuga. As it becomes purer, it must ascend back towards the beginning of heaven. If you become that pure, then this is what is symbolized by God, leading Moses to a land flowing with milk and honey. As described in the Bible and Quran, the Ramayana provides a different angle. The loss of the kingdom, Ayodhya, instead of heaven and regaining it, essentially. We lose heaven and wander in the jungle of Kali Yuga. Now God is leading us back to heaven, which is full of everything. For this, one must simply remain in remembrance of God, even though God is giving this message. Now only a few in a billion listen. Consequently, they will go to heaven because they have filled themselves with the qualities of heaven. God only explains this law. Aside from this, God does not punish those who don't heed his words. However, because they fail to qualify themselves for heaven, they do not go there. Nevertheless, during the final destruction of the world, they will suffer greatly, and their character will change slightly. Still, their character will not change enough to qualify for heaven. Therefore, they will take birth slightly earlier in hell. Dwapara Yuga or early Kali Yuga. A few generations earlier, the suffering was not as severe, nor was human character as degraded as it is now. So they will return in earlier future births to enjoy that lesser degree of happiness. Regarding those who preach atheism now, they are simply wasting the time when God himself has come and is inviting them. They incur a loss, but even then God is not punishing them. Furthermore, while we commit no sin in heaven, we have committed sins for 2,500 years in hell. This is recorded in the soul, and the punishment for those sins will come to find us. We are experiencing that now, through poverty, illness, and betrayal. This punishment for past sins will surely come at the appointed time, regardless of whether we believe in God or not. Some atheists appear well off, but no one is truly happy. They merely keep up appearances. We see many celebrity issues, right? They might seem like a happy couple, but suddenly they are divorced. That means they were just acting all along. They are merely pretending to be happy. Another point is that if they are only taking 1 or 2 final births on this earth, they wouldn't have committed major sins in their first birth. So they will be doing well. But their biggest punishment is that they miss out on heaven entirely. We live in mansions built of gold and silver. Imagine how wealthy we would be, having experienced all that. We envy those who only have a little bit of temporary happiness now, believing they are doing well. This is ignorance. Since Kali Yuga is a world full of atheism, people are drawn to it not because speaking atheism makes them well off. If you speak atheism, or become an atheist, you will commit many more sins. When you become an atheist and commit many sins, you will lose everything in a short period and will not come to heaven. That is why they only have those 1 or 2 births in each cycle. Therefore, you should have compassion for those who are currently rich or troubled, not envy them. Their life is like that of a termite. When it rains, termites rush out of the mound in great numbers. By morning, they are all dead. Their entire life lasts only 1 night. Similarly, having 1 birth in this 5000-year cycle, especially at the end of Kali Yuga, which is full of sorrow, is a tragedy. To be precise, God is teaching us to renounce everything, because attachment is the greatest sin. Attachment is the source of all sorrow. When an object of attachment is damaged or taken away from you, you feel pain. That is why God tells us to renounce attachment, because we have to leave this entire world and go to heaven. Teaching us to renounce everything is the main theme of the Ramayana and Mahabharata. If you want to wear a new pair of slippers, you must remove the old ones first. Similarly, in heaven, we receive a brand new, beautiful body, brand new relationships, and a brand new world. Therefore, do not be attached to this old world. Practice constantly remembering God and the heaven He gives, experiencing bliss through this practice. When the world destruction happens and many catastrophes occur, your happiness will not diminish. Others suffer because they sought happiness only in external things. And when those external circumstances change, they become miserable. That is why God says your happiness should not depend on external circumstances. When you realize you are a soul, and remember the Supreme Soul, a bliss arises. If you immerse yourself in that bliss, you can experience that joy, even in the final moments, no matter what is happening around you, simply by remembering God. The knowledge given by God is available completely free of charge at all Brahma Kumari's Raja Yoga centers under the name Murali. It is also available on YouTube and websites. The link for that will be provided in the video description. In the description, you will also find our WhatsApp and Facebook channel links. If you follow those, we post many channels in different languages, so you will be able to watch them without missing anything. Om Shanti. Thanks for watching.